All right, Jade, thank you so much. I've got Jade here with me, the Senior Director of Strategic Planning for Cox Automotive. Thanks for joining me a little bit today.
Well, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Anyone with strategic planning in the title, we've got to look at strategy. We've got to look at what's going on in the world of automotive. And this year has started off with a bang. Everything from political changes to OEM changes, EV changes with the way that OEMs are operating, shrinking margins. What are you seeing as we start 2025 that is having the largest impact on the way that dealers are operating right now?
Well, I'll say first, I am the biggest mega fan, as you well know, of disruption. I think that's when you really start to see, like, those that have their running shoes on are the ones that are really winning, and there are big shakeups and movements when it comes to market share when things are a little crazy, which seems to be the norm in our business for the last handful of years. But
right.
I tell you, I think that the number one top of mind for me right now, being tax season and some of the uncertainty related to tariffs and things that I hear our clients concerned about, is that consumer sentiment is good. It is at an all-time high. There's satisfaction with the process, which means dealers that are allowing consumers to shop the way they want to shop, to buy the way they want to buy, they are winning, and they are closing deals, and they're closing really profitable deals right now. And that's only going to continue because we think that rates are going to continue to go in the right direction. We see tax season is ahead. We got some great numbers this week. The average tax refund is 6 to 10% higher than it has been in previous years.
There's
and we're 1 or 2% ahead of refunds that have been issued this year versus this time last year. So it's a good news story all the way around. And so I just say, be positive, be ready, take what is there right in front of you and meet the buyers where they are, because they're buying.
I was talking to a dealer actually earlier today. They were at their 20 group recently, and they said just a little over half of their the dealerships in the 20 group are down 60% in net revenue, but the other percentage is actually up. And so there are plenty that are taking, knowing that there are plenty that are taking advantage of the current scenario when it comes to funding for loans, when it comes to used car access, when it comes to even, like you said, the consumer being given the ability to purchase because of their access to cash is something that maybe the industry hasn't been communicating as well as we need to.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what you heard from that 20 group, it's exactly what we're seeing across the board for all of automotive. You're having big winners and big losers right now. And I tell you, the couple of things that I see that are driving that, price is a big one. Using data to validate trade-in values for consumers, processes that allow the consumer to have trust in you, trust in your price, trust in your brand, trust in the deal structure, that they're getting a great deal. Those are the ones that are winning. And, I still see dealers out there with like a new car loss leader. They price one gray Hyundai Elantra at this, this awesome price, and they think they're going to get 60 leads on it and sell all 29 that are sitting out there on their second row. We're just not in that world anymore. There's no new car shopper shopping for year, make, model, and looking at the best price. They're shopping year, make, model, trim, interior color, exterior color, sound package, wheel package, lifestyle, third row. And so the dealers that are winning are the ones that are putting their best price, the price in which they are willing to sell that car, out there. And then their sales teams that are now not really selling the consumer, they're consulting and guiding the consumer through their self-guided process and validating the pricing with data. Those are the ones, they are volume taking it to the bank right now.
Yes.
And they're making great profit on the cars they are selling.
I'm hearing from you that the consumer is a lot more locked into a specific type of vehicle purchase, and they're really looking for that last end guide. You actually, I found out that you have quite a bit of history and not just history, but legacy from your dad, who was a walk-around champion, and walk-arounds have been mainstays in our industry for such a long time. But when you are thinking about not just like coaching managers on how to approach the current situation, but if a salesperson is listening to this or is figuring out what's my next move, what's the next training, what do I need to get better at, Can you talk a little bit about where you would focus your energy if you were a salesperson right now on the front lines dealing with the consumer base in this economy?
I would love to. Number one, I would say focus on your talk tracks and your data-based approach to validating trade-in value. So, you think how long we worked as an industry on one price unit selling. So justifying the price of the vehicle we're selling to the customer. How many times did it take us to train our teams to learn to say, hey, we took away the hassle and haggle and negotiation and game playing that people didn't like about the car process. We put our best price out there. That's why you called me from an hour and a half away, 120 miles from my dealership, because it's the best price in the competitive set. Let me share the competitive set with you. Let me show you all of the like kind vehicles. Let's compare their vehicle history reports together. Let me show you why mine is the best value in the distance in which you're willing to drive to have the experience that you want to get the car you want. So we did a great job at that. We checked that box over the last handful of years. And now we've introduced as much confusion and complexity in the trade value. So, the average customer now shows up at a dealership with 2.7 trade values in their hands. And depending on the age group, some of them have 7 to 9 trade valuations from all of these online retailers and sites. And the average spread in the value is right around $2,000. And so we took everything that we did great and that we figured out on the one price selling side for the car we're selling to them and that they're purchasing. And then we just added that same level of confusion and mistrust on the value of their trade-in. And so as a salesperson, that's the number one place that I would focus. Refine your talk tracks, learn what your processes are and how you do, whether virtually or in person, that really detailed walk around to help the consumer understand why your valuation is data-based, why it's fair and reasonable. And that, that's a big place, because if we've said it once, we've said it hundreds of times over the last few months, but we see in all of our consumer research, the first click that a consumer makes, it's generally about the right car and the price that they're interested in and the distance in which they're willing to go to get it, or the experience that they want to have it delivered to their driveway. But every click, and depending on the age segment, it may be 10 clicks or it may be up to 250 touch points before the close. All of those middle touch points between click and close, they're weeding out dealerships. They're weeding out people. So I would say if you're a salesperson and you're in an organization that is still running a BDC, like a BDC ran 2 to 5 or 8 years ago,
get them
get them in the door. Or, a lot of them are they're setting virtual appointments. They're doing a lot of the right things, but consumers aren't calling in to set an appointment. They're calling in to get their questions answered about the vehicle or the process or the deal or the finance terms. They're ready to make a deal. And dadgummit, do not miss a lot up, because if a consumer is walking onto your lot, they are there to buy. And that's just the nature of it. So those are top pieces of advice.
Yeah, what I'm hearing you say is like, hey, the consumer, because of the volume of education, is way more educated, but also potentially confused. And so getting that consumer to the guide quicker, right? To the person that can actually walk them through the process and understands the matrix of education available, right? Hey, salesperson, you might want to go value some cars on Carvana and CarMax and Edmunds and Auto Trader and all of the KBB, all of these places in your process, so that you understand what the valuations, what's driving them, how the customer is going through that process, so that when that customer brings all those things to you, you know how to walk them through your process. I think that's extremely insightful data point and like really practical on the ground level. Jade, it's been just wonderful talking to you. Like, you answered some really, really practical things for us that I think both managers and salespeople can take away. And all of that data you have access to is definitely give us a way to take data into operations. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.